Please rest your hands in your lap and you can close your eyes. And whatever our baubles were for getting into class, whatever little detours you had during your morning, basically whatever has been flowing into the field of your awareness, it's all still yoga. How we respond rather than react. Where we place our minds in response to any one thing. Kind of reveals the habits of the mind that we have so deeply installed. Now we're arriving here, so we get to set those things aside. Whatever minor detours you had or little baubles, you can set them aside. And bring yourself into the present moment. We are so fortunate to share this practice together. Now allow your breathing to deepen to help support your arrival. And as you do that, just gently lift the center of your heart, your rib cage, your collarbones, but not the shoulders. Lift the base of your skull. Even let there be a little lift at the roof of your mouth and up towards the crown of your skull. And this slight shift in posture, which could be slight for you, could be more moderate shift in posture, but this, let's say, simple shift in posture, it elicits in the body a feeling of optimism or confidence, willingness. In the physical body, it's not just metaphorical. When you make this tiny shift, there are actually responses, biochemical, neurological, towards being alert, present, receptive, available, and leaning in the direction of courage and optimism, willingness and perspective. And root down through your hips and your tailbone. Let your seat feel more grounded even yet by a few degrees. And that gesture is associated with the feelings in the body, musculoskeletal, neurological. Feelings of grounding, rooting, a sense of homecoming. The possibility of stillness, a sense of becoming centered. We welcome these things. We can adjust our posture to elicit these responses. And we know this because other postural habits, things like slouching or feeling collapsed, also has an influence on your mood, your affect. As your breathing now deepens, touching into the pelvis where you get a sense of grounding or rooting, and also let the breath rise, bringing in those qualities of heart that could support your practice this morning. And then please bring your hands together in Anjali Mudra. And this morning we'll chant Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu. We're here together. May this practice protect, nourish, and strengthen. May we find solutions that bring us to a more luminous perspective. May we not feel impatient or succumb to any animosity during the course of our practice. Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Savidyam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavai Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Savidyam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavai Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Savidyam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavai Om Shanti Om Shanti Shanti Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And release your hands. Please open your eyes. Yeah. Okay, so we also know this about our posture when, even without a shared language, somebody might win a race or the team wins a game, and on whatever country they're from or the feeling their language happens to have, there's a gesture. Right? There are these things people do. And I think we see high-fiving not only as an American custom, but it's also around the globe. So that goes to speak that we have a shared somatic language as a population, as a species. And then we can adjust our posture towards the qualities that we are most wanting to experience, which probably isn't a consistent cross-chest grumpy thing. We probably don't want that as our baseline. But we don't also want this to be everything that we're doing all the time, because it's kind of ungrounding at a certain point. So today in class we're going to focus on the posture that elicits optimism or grace or commitment, where we feel like, yeah, we can rise to what's being asked of us. So starting where you're sitting, I'm going to push my seat back. Starting where you are, sit on the front edge of your chair so that you have a space behind you for your fingers to go on the seat of the chair. Or if you're sitting on the floor, you can put a couple of blocks behind you so that if you're on a blanket, then the block is the same height as your hips. Let's turn the fingers to point out and the thumbs to point forward. Roll your shoulders back. Give a good squeeze to your shoulder blades, whatever they can do. Lift up with your heart and your collarbones. And for a moment, bring your chin down towards your sternum. Now, as you keep the shoulders back, really consider widening your collarbones left to right. And with the chin down, just bring your chin to the right collarbone and to the left collarbone slowly. When you're turning your head right, consider keeping your left shoulder strongly pressing back. And let yourself go across slowly so your heart and your sternum are lifted. Means your thoracic spine is in extension. Your chin is bowed towards your throat, which means your neck, your cervical spine is in flexion. Now the next time that you press both shoulders back and bring your chin towards your right collarbone, then start lifting your gaze to the right and bring your chin down, right collarbone, sternum, left collarbone, raise your chin to your left, and down, left collarbone, sternum, right collarbone, raise your chin, gaze right. Once more, just like a grandfather clock. We're just going in really slow motion. Keep the shoulders pressed back. The grandfather clock goes a little bit different pace than this, but it's the same idea for right now. Center. Now, release your shoulders and float your head up to rest over your spine. And just sense any change in your body, or even the feeling tone that your body wants to take a deeper breath, for example. Now raise your left arm out to the side, palm face up, please. And I want you to imagine if you take your fingers to the left side of the sternum and hold firmly there, and actually pull from the muscle alongside the sternum towards the sternum. And then stretch your left arm out, reach into your thumb. Pull your thumb back and gaze to your right. Now the fingers against your chest pulling towards the sternum and your gaze going to the right. That's a rotation right, but widen your left arm and press your left thumb back. Take a deep breath in. And then let this one float around to center. And just pause for a moment to see how the two different sides of your chest, shoulders, and neck are feeling. You may even sense like a little warmth where your fingers were pressing because the circulation comes back into that spot. Okay, take your left fingers on the right side of the sternum and just draw the skin and the muscle towards the sternum. Open your right arm out to the side. Turn your palm up to the best of your ability. Think about hitchhiking when it was safe to do so. And reach back with your thumb, rotate your head to your left. Now you might feel under your fingers how the skin and muscles are moving. When you draw your right shoulder back, we want to keep the skin and the muscles where the fingers are. Keep that steady so you're really pressing back to open the right upper chest. Breathe in. And then exhale, come around to center. And notice again, any shifts in your posture at all. Or the feeling tone from the inside, even if somebody might not see your posture from the outside as different. Now take your left arm forward, palm face up, and raise your left arm up alongside your ear. Reach up, rotate your chin as far as it goes to your right, and bring your chin down towards your throat. Take your right hand to the top of your head and just give a very gentle pressure for your chin to go down. Keep raising the left arm up. And breathing in, left arm up, up, and then left arm out to the side. Take the left arm all the way down, palm facing out. Keep your chin in towards your throat And raise your left arm one more time. As you bring the chin in towards your throat, lift the base of your skull as if you're trying to gaze down past the tip of your nose to see your right collarbone. And slowly lower your left arm down, widen your left shoulder, palm facing up. Continue going down, palm facing out. And then relax your left arm and your right, and let your head float back up to center. A little bit like when you're playing in the water, swimming pool, lake, ocean, and you've pressed a ball down under the water, and then you release it slowly, let it float back up. Okay, now take your right arm forward and raise your right arm up alongside your ear. Okay, turn your head as far as you can go comfortably to your left with the chin level to start. Then bring your chin down towards your throat. When you do that, I want you to also think about lifting the base of your skull. So it's not just that your head falls forward towards your shoulder, you're really bringing the chin in towards the throat. Bring your left hand up. And give a little support pressure, nothing too forceful. Gaze down past the tip of your nose as if you're trying to see your left collarbone. Begin to slowly open your right arm out to the side, palm facing up. Lengthen your right thumb, palm facing up. As you go down lower than your shoulder, palm facing out. Reach from your right earlobe to your right thumb. And bring that slowly back up. Palm facing out, palm facing up. Lift the base of your skull so your chin snugs in towards your throat. And then release both arms, keeping your head turned and down to the side. And in slow motion, imagine you're releasing a ball under the water and it floats back up to center. Now let's pause here, and on the inside, imagine the sort of postural shift that is also a shift towards perspective. In other words, how we could see a wider view on any one thing in ourselves, beyond ourselves. How does this shift your sense of perspective? I'd like you to have a yoga strap for both hands. I'm going to get mine. My physio ball's a little bit noisy when I roll on it. Thanks for bearing with the sound. Okay, so the yoga strap, mine already has a loop, and I would like you to put a loop in your strap too. And the loop can be shoulder width apart, like this. I'm looking at myself here for a moment thinking, wow, everything matches. But I don't plan my matching Garanimals outfits. Garanimals is a clothing company from when I was a kid, and they came with matching items. I'm a twin, so my mother loved to match the items, so it was probably kind of cute. I don't have any memory of dressing just like my sister, but I'm sure my mom has that memory. So both arms forward like this. Okay, so that was neck and head and also perspective. Now we're going to go to the throat. So you're going to raise up both arms like this. Inhale. And then I want you to squeeze your elbows behind you. You can catch the strap so it doesn't separate. Bring your chin down towards your throat. Now, as you're squeezing the elbows wide, lift your heart and start making a little back bend. The strap can be right there to support the base of your skull as you lift your head and look up. And then bring your chin back down, sit up nice and tall. And as you inhale, turn the hands around and push up. And then exhale, turn your palms flat and come down. So you've got the strap again at the base of your skull, right? Take the elbows back, open your chest and your heart and your throat. And then bring your chin down. Now turn your palms around so my hands are facing up, like this, right? And then you're going to press up. Yeah, this is easier for those who don't have finger dexterity, and some of us don't have as much finger dexterity. But it also lets the shoulders go ahead and come down. It lets the shoulders have a little bit more freedom. If you were holding your hands together, you'd have to have more flexible shoulders. So right there at the base of the skull, lean back so your head has support from the strap. And then last one, bring your chin down, turn your palms to face towards the ceiling and press up. And pause here. Notice the feeling of pushing up. That feeling is very important to us, that we feel like as a person, as a species, that we can push up, we can rise up. Now loosen one hand from the strap, hold it in the other hand, and let your arms come down. And notice the feeling tone in your throat and your neck and your shoulders. Now from where you're sitting, we'll stay with the throat for a few moments more. We're never isolating just one thing in the body, but we're going to stay with this concept of the throat right now. So perspective and voice. Take your left hand to your right knee, walk your right hand behind you. Now as you twist to your right, with the whole twist, even turn your gaze. But then we're going to be rotating only the head back to reach across. So let's do this. Inhale, twist right. And then exhale, turn your gaze to your left as far as it comfortably goes. That rotation comes from your neck and your throat. Inhale, rotate to your right. Exhale, turn through your throat, your neck, your chin, your ears, the crown of your skull, your eyes. Inhale, right. Exhale, rotate slowly. Sense the turning belongs to your throat, your neck, and your head, and your eyes. One more time, please. It doesn't matter how far you're able to turn right now, but I do want you to turn with the length of your breath cycle so things are coordinated. Now release both arms. Cross your right hand to your left knee. Left hand behind you. Yep, good. And then inhale, twist to your left. And when you exhale, rotate your head to your right. The inhale, rotate left. Exhale, rotate to your right. And try to sense you're moving from your throat. So this part of the body, the throat, including the function of the throat, eating, swallowing, speaking, singing. Sometimes we have little mental health dilemmas going on in the throat. So how we eat, how we speak, what we say, what we don't say, what we use food for that we should not be using it for. All these things are considerations here at the throat chakra. One more time, inhale left. And then when you exhale right, keep the left shoulder back. Rotate just your head. And then release to center. So your arms, shoulders, heart, head, and chin, we line up in the center. And notice. That also involved the turning of the head. So you might sense perspective at the 6th chakra and voice at the 5th chakra, at the throat. Now we're going to come up to stand using the upper back of the chair. So let me get my chair established. I'm going to change my camera. Just one moment, please. Okay. So I'd like you to have your chair be stable, and I said this last week. If your chair is one that when you use the upper back of the chair feels any bit tippy, then I want you to put a weight on the chair, like a rice bag or a sandbag. And then, as with last week's first standing pose, we're going to place the hands on the round edge of the chair right through here. And please step backwards to an L shape that we're going to call chair dog. Now, as you step back, a few things, reminders from last Tuesday's class. I want you to press into the pinky finger side of the hands and snug your elbows towards each other. Turn your triceps in towards your nose. So your shoulder blades ought to widen across your upper back. And then lift the base of your skull so your head is in line with your spine. Depending on the flexibility of your shoulders, your head may be lined up with your arms, but it may be a little bit higher than that if the shoulders have a limitation. So breathing in, try to sense now the back of your heart receives the last portion of your inhale and is delighted. Do that one more time, breathing in. Notice the back of the heart, and then exhale, press down against the upper back of the chair and step forward. And you can face whatever forward is for you. I'll turn to face you guys. Let the arms relax right there. And notice any change. If you came to class feeling a little bit lethargic, maybe you feel a tiny bit more energized. Or if you came feeling maybe pessimistic or less than hopeful, you might feel just sort of middle now. Maybe not your top optimism, but somewhere in the middle. Take your yoga strap and put it behind you. Put both wrists in the strap. Let me get mine. When you put your wrists in the strap, if you have a feeling that the strap is too small, by all means make the loop bigger. When I was working with top athletes and also the officers at the prison, they had to make this loop bigger because their shoulders were very well developed, very muscular. So if you put this around and that strap feels too small, make the loop bigger. And then press both shoulders back. Squeeze your arms back. And when I say squeeze the arms back, let me be specific. Squeeze your shoulders back. So it's the shoulders that go back first, and then the heart comes up. It's not that you're just moving your hands back, because that would cause the shoulders to come forward. So squeeze back with your shoulders. And breathing in, lift the inner body and your heart. Tip your left ear towards your left shoulder. Breathing in, lift your heart, your throat, the crown of your skull. Breathing out, tip your right ear towards your right shoulder. May or may not go very far. Inhale up to center. Exhale, left ear towards your left shoulder. Once more, inhale up to center, squeeze the shoulders back. And last time, exhale, right ear towards your right shoulder. Then lift your heart, your throat, your eyes, the crown of your skull. Loosen the strap and let your arms dangle down. Close the eyes and look from your heart, not from your physical eyes. What is the feeling tone inside now? Okay, now I'd like you to put the strap aside but keep it within reach. And holding the upper back of the chair, step forward so you're as close to it as you can be comfortable being. Bend both knees and take your left toes back. Let's call this the base for the Crescent Lunge. And notice that when I stepped backwards, my right shin, I'm not mirroring you, I'm going to remind myself. My right shin is vertical. And my left toes back there are supporting the pose, but my left heel is not on the floor. That means you have to work on your balance here, but it's also meaning you can square your hips to face forward better. So holding the upper back of the chair, root your tailbone down. Zip the pubic bone up. And then press down lightly with your fingertips to lift your heart and your collarbones. It could be a subtle lift. You're going up right through the interior of the heart. And just gently raise your gaze, only slightly above the horizon. And ask yourself, can you now take the left palm up and keep your balance as you open your left arm and gaze back to your left, following your thumb. I'm sorry, that's your right. Sorry, you guys. I'm so accustomed to mirroring after 30 years. So lift your right palm up, and then you're rotating to the right. And see if you can follow your right thumb. In fact, I'd recommend that you don't take your right thumb farther than your gaze can follow. And then exhale, return your right hand to the upper back of the chair. Now here's a pretty big step. We're going to step either many tiny ones, but if you can do one big one, step forward. Press into your right heel, place your left foot next to your right. Bend both knees, take your right toes back. So first establish the toes of your left foot, the heel of your left foot, the toes of your right foot. Zip the pubic bone up and secure this base, your pelvis. Press your fingertips down so the inner body gets a little bit of a lift right there. Whether the outside world could see it or not, we can feel it on the inside. Raise your gaze slightly up above the horizon. Lift your left palm up like you're making an offering. And start following your left thumb while keeping your balance. And try turning only so far as you can still see your left thumb. Even if your arm could go farther, and to keep it within view. And breathing in. And exhale, follow your thumb to come forward. And you have permission for many tiny steps, or try one big, strong step. Press into your left heel to bring your right foot back to meet your left foot. And then turn your chair around, please. Now here, I'd like you to have a blanket or two, or even three if you need them. And I'm going to get the blanket that I'm using. Okay, so what you can do, you have a blanket. I don't know how many you actually have, so let me show you that if you fold this in half, and then you fold it in thirds, you go 1, 2, 3, it's a little bit thicker. You could have two of those if you need. You'll see where we're going, and then you can make a decision. And so part of this is going to be the strength to come up from the floor, and part of it is the ease to go down with your knee. So that's why I'm saying, how many blankets will you need? You don't quite know yet. But here, if you look at this, when I place my right shin vertical now, and the left knee's coming down to the blanket, that blanket could be closer or farther from the chair, could be lower to the floor, higher from the floor, even if you need to use 3 blankets. Okay, I'm scooting mine back because it makes sense for my flexibility and my posture. All right, so let's start here. Do your best to tuck the left toes under back there. So now I want you to think of posture going from the heart down to the center of strength and agency in the belly, which is a place from where, when we have a push reflex, whether that's arms or legs, we have to source that strength from the center of the abdomen. So curl your left toes under, press down with your right foot, and slowly inhale to straighten your left leg. Push it back. Press your right foot down. And then exhale and very slowly touch your left knee down. Even if you have a high stack of blankets and you're only going a short distance, go slow. Okay, inhale, push down to strengthen both legs, straighten your left leg. Exhale to slowly touch that down, keeping the strength of the inner body. One more time, inhale, Press into your right heel and your left leg. Now place both hands firmly on the chair seat and push down against the chair seat so that you can pick up your right foot. There's your push reflex. Step backwards over your blanket. And there is your next chair dog pose. Now press into both hands and arms. Lift your chest part way so that you can then step over your blanket. Left foot forward. Bring your right knee down. Come to your fingertips. If you prefer, you can put blocks on the chair seat. Sometimes that makes it feel a little bit easier for people when we're here. That's optional, up to you. Let's breathe in. Connect to the strength of your legs, and as you exhale, press through your right heel and down through your left foot. And then slowly touch down, keeping the tone of the belly. Now empowering from the center of your belly, strengthen both legs. Even the front foot is pressing down. And slowly touching down. And one more time, using the push reflex from the center of your strength into both legs. And then you place both hands and press firmly into your arms and step your front foot backwards over the blanket and come to your chair dog pose. Now press down through both arms, roll your torso forward and step over the blanket and rise up to standing. And you can just face forward for a moment so I can give you a chance to reflect and also to integrate. So part of the process that we tend to lose, for many reasons, is this integration from the center, from the core, into our limbs. And then we are going to have a harder time getting down to and up from the floor. And I just spoke with somebody in my yoga teacher training, actually, I think it might be his parents, or his friend's parents, 90 and 94 years old. And she just began doing yoga, and over the course of several weeks, she was able to go back down to the floor and get back up from the floor. Hadn't done that for years, and she's 94 years old, so that was very inspiring. And it was from doing adaptive yoga, a class that developed her ability to do that in pieces. So here is one of the activities we can do for strengthening using the chair and plank pose, and then a kind of table pose. So it goes like this. You can watch here. These blankets, you'll have to decide where does it make the most sense. So if I come to my plank pose and I'm eyeballing that's where my knees are going to touch. This would be my table pose, and then you go back up to plank pose. Okay, so that you want to know what the distance is by just giving it a little test drive. And I'll let you guys test drive that. When you have a sense of it, place your hands so your outer three fingers wrap around the side of the chair, and the index and thumb are on the chair securely. Now let's breathe in. And then exhale from the center of your belly. Press down into both arms, reach back into both legs. And then exhale, really lightly touch the knees down as if the knees were dragonflies just touching the surface of the water. And then inhale, press down to straighten your legs and both arms. And exhale, keeping the arms straight, lightly touch the knees down. Do not bend the elbows. Inhale, push through your arms to straighten your legs. Exhale very lightly. The knees touch down, but the elbows don't bend. And then once more, inhale to strengthen. Lengthen both legs. And now reach your hips back. Place your feet where they're comfortable for you to do chair dog pose one more time. Notice what your breath wants to do after some exertion. And then let's step over the blanket. Step forward. And you can put the blanket, or the blankets plural, you can put them aside. And please take a seat in your chair. I'm going to turn mine to face forward. And take a seat at the front edge of your chair, please. And when you take this seat, I'd like you to sense, okay, now, what is your posture? What are the signals you're getting from the strength at the center of the torso in this region? The feeling of the heart, the experience of the throat, and your eyes. A sense also where you sit in your posture. For example, do you feel like you're in this plumb line with the spine, or do you sit a little bit pitched forward or a little bit pitched back? Now please take a wide seat in the chair, so you're going to place your feet like a tripod. And take the hands out to the knees. Press your knees out as you just bring the torso slightly forward. When you come forward, this downward pressure of the arms against your knees, you can make a little lift of the inner body and the spine, this internal sense of your energy going up towards the crown of your skull. At the same time, take the sacrum and your tailbone down towards your seat. So that sense of descending is also there. Now turn your left fingers in, right hand stays out, and twist to your right. In some of our other classes, we call this the jazz dance warm-up pose. When you twist to the right here, try to bring the breath down into your pelvis. So even as low as below your belly button, near to the bladder, towards the pubic bone, tailbone. Now inhale, come to center. Turn your left fingers to point out again. Turn the right hand to come in and rotate to your left. Use the strength of both arms so we're not bending the elbows to appear to be twisting. You keep the elbows straight and the arms strong, and the twist has to come to the spine. And then rotate that around to face forward. Eyes up to sitting. Sorry, my chair is noisy. It is what it is. Toes, heels back to center. Now make both blocks like a little step stool. something like this. But also you could do, if you prefer to, you could do this. I wouldn't recommend stacking this tall because it becomes unstable. So you'd have to decide if you're stable enough for that. And take your right foot up. Place the back of your heel on the blocks and let's come forward. Yeah. Hello to the calf muscles, the hamstrings. Allow the breath to be kind, nourishing, soothing. Please root down, rise up. And so these are forward bends, what we're doing right now. And different than back bends, forward bends tend to elicit an inner sense of the nervous system slowing down, becoming more grounded, more inward. So when you come forward, consider that as an opportunity to come back in. And one more breath, please. And then root down to rise up and step your left foot back down. And then just try to notice like what's happening with the nervous system. Where do you sense your energy goes? These might be subtle changes or they might be more dynamic changes for you. We're going to come down to the floor using the chair and 2 blankets. So let's set up so you can see my profile view. And this is going to go this way. This will not be unfamiliar to you, but I want you to just be thoughtful. How close do you place the blankets to the chair? You don't actually know until you're positioned, because we're going to add it as a little stretch for the hips. Please have your strap close by. Okay, so we take this as a little stack. Let me move this so you can see a little bit better. And this is where getting down to the floor is something that sometimes people need to have a strategy for that, how to get down to the floor. So an option would be, if you were practicing it, if you're learning it again, is to have the hands and then to thoughtfully aim to bring the knees down. So that's why the blanket stack has to be tall enough for the person. And then you would take the hands, step the knees off, And then we want to be able to get the shins around here. And you place the hips sideways on the blankets. And then you roll onto your back to come into position. Rather than trying to figure out how to get your hips on those blankets from lying on your back, that is quite a gymnastic maneuver. So this is the rolling method to get in. And you've got the 2 blankets supporting your hips right now, and your feet can be on the front of the chair. Now take your yoga strap and place your right foot and your right hand in the strap. And you can take the left leg onto the chair seat. Now, for some of us, like myself, I have very little resistance for my hamstrings. But for others, this is already a full experience of stretching. So based on where you are and your flexibility and genetics, come into the stretch that is breathedly yours. Breathedly yours. Now the strap has a loop. It also has what I call a tail. I'm going to ask you to keep that tail kind of close enough by that you have it. So that now we can inhale, raise the right leg up towards vertical. Keep the tail of the strap in your left hand and take your right leg out to the side. And you can slow that down with your left hand on the strap. Excuse me. So the right hand can guide, but the left hand can slow it down so that you're not, at a certain point, tipping your hips to the right. No sense of tipping. Breathe in. And then glide your right leg back up using both hands as needed. And place your right foot on the front of the chair. Left foot on the front of the chair. Switch the strap to your left hand. Take your left hand into the loop. Know where the tail is with your right hand. Lengthen your right leg on the chair seat and give yourself a hamstring stretch that's within your particular capacity, right? Don't strain to be me. This is my leg with my hamstrings, and this is how it turned out in the genetic package. So also my yoga practice, but my genetics are a big part of this kind of flexibility. So as you're breathing in and breathing out, really try to sense the smoothness of your breath reflects a quality of concentration and an attitude of presence. Let's bring the left leg up to vertical position, and holding the tail of the strap with your right hand, you can slow down how the left leg goes out to the side without any sense of tipping. So no tipping. The left hand on the strap can kind of steer, but the right hand can act as your brake. No tipping over. Breathe in and breathe out. And then let's inhale, glide back up to center. Release the strap and put your feet on the front of the chair, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Invite your body to relax and notice what happens with the nervous system now, with the we call it the energy body in yoga. slowly roll your knees up to center, and you'll place the shins and feet out over the seat of the chair. Now, for some of you, that means that your chair, if you don't have an opening at the back of the chair, what you can do is tip the upper back of the chair until the front toes of the chair might pick up off the floor and you've got your knees supported. You can put your feet right through the back of the chair. And that's not everybody's chair, so it's okay. Bring your head to center and let your body relax into the floor beneath you. This is your integration Shavasana time, so let it be a time of inwardness and renewal. So for Shavasana, you can consider where we began in the class at the eyes, perspective, the rotation of the head, and let your eyebrows deeply relax. Allow your eyelids to be draping over the eyes, but with no additional pressure against the eyes. And allow the entire face to get the message from your eyes that right now your perspective is going inward. And continue to relax your eyes, your face, your tongue, and therefore the activities of your mind and also your senses. Moment to moment, allow your eyes and your gaze to be inward, resting all five senses and the habits of the mind. Allow the rest to go even more deeply, a few degrees more. Your eyes, your mind, your senses. some awareness to the breath that is taking care of you. And enjoy a slightly deeper breath in. And gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bring your knees towards your chest, please. And roll thoughtfully to your right side when you're able to. Imadoga, 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 Imadoga. Press yourself back up to sitting. And please take an upright seat, whether that's on your blankets or on your chair. And bring your hands to your heart. May we be nourished by this practice. May it support us in nourishing others, particularly those who are most in need right now. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.